the heart of this person.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sushila Nimani Stanger. I'm the Executive Director of the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, and I'd like to welcome you to the March regular board meeting, the URA Board of Directors. Thank you for joining us. For anyone joining us virtually that needs sign language interpretation, please pin Amy Ahern and Elle Brokenshire's videos to your screen to follow the ASL services. We do have a quorum, so I'm now going to pass it over to our chairman to call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Executive Director Nimani Stanger. I hereby call to order the regular February meeting of the URA Board of Directors. Let's take roll. Vice Chair Lavelle.
Here.
Treasurer Charland.
Here.
State Representative and Director Williamson.
Here.
Powell and Williamson. And Director Powell.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all board members are present and accounted for. Next, we'll move into the approval of the annual regular URA board meeting minutes, January 15th, 2026. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's approved, minutes are approved. Also, and I think we turn over to you now.
That's correct. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Now we'll move into the public comment portion of our meeting. I'll turn this over to Catherine Murray, Director of Government Affairs and Strategic Initiatives, to facilitate. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you. Each month, members of the public have the opportunity to provide public comment at URA board meetings. Registration is encouraged in advance. Written public comments submitted prior to 1 p.m. on the day of the board meeting will be welcome and be part of the public minutes and meeting record. We received 2 public comments pertaining to the Woods Village project this month. We also have 1 individual registered to give public comment, Marimba Malayans from the Hill CDC. Marimba, you'll have 3 minutes to deliver public comment. Marimba here in person. Oh, sorry. I was looking on.
I am here today. Good afternoon, board. Good to see you all. My name is Marimba Malayans, President and CEO of the Hill Community Development Corporation. I am here in my capacity today as a co-chair of the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund. And I want to take an opportunity today to simply thank the community members who have been meeting for over 3 years to make these funds possible. Specifically from Councilman Lavelle as the co-chair to that committee. The credit union has been represented, the Hill District Consensus Group, Wesley Center, AME Zion Church, Shenley Heights Community Development Program, the Historic Hill Institute, and Ujima Collective have been meeting almost, it seems, endlessly to make sure that the funds that are going to be dispersed today actually reach the Hill District community. Of course, those funds were initially secured through a legal settlement that the Hill CDC filed against the Pittsburgh Penguins and the City Planning Commission when they would not commit to community benefits. So while the origin was a little bit difficult, I'm very proud and happy to see that we have been able to secure these LRTA funds to go back into the Hill District ultimately. So thank you all for an anticipated approval of the commitment that will be made today. I do want to say relative to the Lower Hill District RFP, we will be back in touch with you. I also serve as co-chair for the Executive Management Committee for the Lower Hill District. We will be back in touch with the details of any revisions we would like to see in that RFP prior to it being issued. I think the most important thing that we can take away today is that it is critically important that the Executive Management Committee's role as a partner in the selection of the developer, as explicitly stated in the CSIP, is followed by the URA. So we should be working in partnership to select the developer. And also, while we are excited about the potential of moving a process forward with the affordable housing on the Lower Hill, I do think that we should be mindful about how we select developers when there is a no-compete process. So I want to say that relative to what I noticed in the agenda was already moving Trek forward without any kind of competition. And I want to be clear, I think this could be a good thing, but the way we do things really matters. So I wanted to go on record with those comments, and thank you again for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public commenter is online. Renee, you have 3 minutes for public comment.
Yes. Hello, my name is Renee Wilson. I'm a resident of the Hill and a community activist and a keeper of our history. I noticed there was a post giving credit for this reinvestment fund to the mayor when the community worked so hard to get this. You know, we come from a community that our history is being erased every day. So anytime you make a statement like that, it can really, really truthfully hurt us. And we would ask that that be corrected in the public so people can know exactly what happened, so no more of our history can be erased. It was very, very hurtful to see that came out of the mayor's office. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point in time, I'd like to open the floor to any other member in the room or online that wishes to deliver public comment.
Morning. Thank you, Board. My name is Loretta Payne. I am a resident of the Hill District. Love my neighborhood. This is the first time I've been at the meeting, and what I'd like to say is on the piggyback of what Marimba was saying regarding tract development, we have to be careful about having one developer develop so much in one district because that can create a monopoly. If someone does not agree with maybe a management, they have very limited space to go in the same area if one developer owns most of the rental property. So I would like to be cautious about that. There's other small developers, small businesses, I think they can do a very good job developing in the Hill District. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public commenters today?
I see a hand up.
Holly, you have 3 minutes starting now. Thank you.
Am I able to comment on the Woods Village project in Hazelwood?
Yes, please
Yes,
proceed.
Holly, the floor is yours.
Okay, I just want to speak briefly as one of the only homeowners who will be directly impacted by the proposed Woods Village project, since my home is directly across the street from the site. I live on Monongahela and Berwick Street, and I fully support the project. Right now, the area is unfortunately pretty neglected and has become a place where people dump trash. It's often referred to as like a pop-up forest, but in reality, it's more of an eyesore. My husband and I spend time cleaning it up ourselves, and it's clear that the space really needs some care and attention. Kirsch Panda has already been a great neighbor with the additions of the Woods House, and based on that experience, I feel confident that his project would be a great and positive addition to the neighborhood. This is a space where homes once stood, and I think bringing the thoughtful development back will really benefit the community. So I just wanted to share my support and appreciation for the effort to improve the area.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point in time, our public comment period is now concluded. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Murray. We have a few announcements this month. The first, I will turn it over to Chief Link.
Okay. Thank you, Sushila. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, the public here watching, listening today. So I'm Tom Link. I'm the URA's Chief Development Officer. So I'm going to go through a series of announcements here just to remind our board and the public. These are non-voting announcements related to the Lower Hill redevelopment site. To be consistent with the URA's board practice with regards to the site, we are providing these non-voting minimum day, 30-day notices of future voting actions the URA board intends to take at future board meetings. I think for these in particular, I would anticipate at our next board meeting, in April. Just as a reminder, again, for the board, the public, and to site control of the undeveloped portions of the Lower Hill redevelopment site reverted back to the respective public authorities. at the expiration of the option agreement with the Penguins par. And thus these actions sort of related to next steps with regards to those parcels. So I'm going to read these announcements and just add a couple of contextual items here. So the first announcement is the URA intends to release a request for proposals, RFP, for Lower Hill District Housing at its April 9th, 2026 board meeting. The draft request for proposal document will be available on the URA's website for public comment until April 7th, 2026. I do want to note that form for public comment, I believe, becomes available at the end of this board meeting. So I ask that folks wait till the end of the board meeting to access that form. Some notes on the RFP itself. So this is an RFP for approximately 6.82 acres of URA-controlled development sites. So just to be clear, these are the URA-controlled sites. These are not SCA-controlled sites. Generally referred to as portions of Block A and C, and there's a map here somewhere on the
Yeah.
easternmost portion of the
If we could
site.
go to the RFP
Yeah,
map,
there you
that would
go.
be
Thank you.
helpful.
Thank you.
Next, the previous RFP map that shows
Yeah, there's a map.
full site. It says RF.
Yeah, there you
you
go.
go.
Yeah, that's a good visual. So you can see in sort of that pale blue are the sites that are will be part of the RFP. Generally, these are the easternmost portion of the site, bordered by Crawford, Bedford Streets, and then Center Avenue, excuse me. The parcel numbers are in Block A, parcel numbers 2C303, 2C298, and then 2C301. And then the portion of Block C parcels, which is 2C305 and 2C300. The RFP as it reads right now, and as we'll see when it's public for folks to take a look at, the objective of the RFP is to seek proposals for that portion of the site for the primary purpose of constructing affordable and/or market rate housing. As folks are generally aware, these sites currently right now are being used as a surface parking. So again, the intention will be to release this RFP at the April 9th, 2026 board meeting, and responses to that RFP as currently constructed would be due June 9th, 2026. And as I mentioned, the RFP itself will be available on the URA website, and folks the public can provide public comment through a form. The second announcement relates to the Lower Hill LRTA. So the second announcement is the URA plans to seek authorization to adopt and implement program guidelines for the Lower Hill Development Fund, which will revert the Lower Hill Development Fund to its original iteration at the time of the creation of the Lower Hill LRTA. This will allow the public, the URA, and the Sports and Exhibition Authority of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County to receive payments in lieu of taxes from property owners equal to 50% of the real estate tax generated by development within and this is one of my favorite acronyms, the Lower Hill Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance LRTA District to capitalize the Lower Hill Development Fund.
Next slide, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. The purpose of the fund would be to support funding for on-site public infrastructure and public realm improvements on the site. Again, the program guidelines and amended declaration of restrictive covenants governing the Lower Hill Development Fund will be available on the URA's website for public comment until April 7th, 2026, again, with the intention of adopting these at the April 9th, 2026, or at least consider adoption at the April 9th, 2026 URA board meeting. I can go into some of the mechanics of the LRTA, but generally speaking, the way this works is the LRTA is a payment in lieu of taxes that developers make on the increased real estate taxes that they would owe due to development on site. And those increased real estate taxes and payment in lieu of taxes are split 50-50. 50% of those payment in lieu of taxes go to the Greater Hill Neighborhood Development Reinvestment Fund, which was talked about, and there's actions actually later on the board as to that fund. And then 50% of these go to on-site public infrastructure. So the Lower Hill Development Fund would only be related to that 50% of the payments that are for on-site public infrastructure improvements. It would not have there would be no change in regards to the 50% that's for the Greater Hill Development Reinvestment Fund. Again, available on our website, public comment until April 7th, 2026, with an intention of bringing back to the URA's board April 9th, 2026. And then finally, the third announcement related to the Lower Hill redevelopment site is the URA plans to seek, authorization to formalize site control for 1.75 acres on Block A. So if you're looking at the map, there's sort of that darker shade on Block A that's generally bordered by Crawford and Center Avenue on the site. That's the 1.75 acres on Block A that I'm referring to, with the intention of entering into necessary agreements with the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh or related entities to advance the Bedford Dwellings Hill District redevelopment project, which is contemplated to be a mixed income housing development funded by HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant Program. On this particular item on 3, we have guests here who can certainly help answer any questions specific to this project. I believe Michelle Sandich with the Housing Authority is with us in person. JW Kim with the Housing Authority is online, and I believe Bill Gaddy with Trek is online as well if there are specific questions on the third announcement. I will pause there, and happy to answer questions and happy to allow our guests to add anything that I've missed. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Board. I am Michelle Sandich. I'm the Chief Community Affairs Officer for the HACP. JW Kim, who is our Chief Development Officer, is online. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to entertain them. Or JW, I just want to say that I'm really honored as it relates to this project to be here, to look at a board of people, and everybody knows my name and I know yours. It's kind of like being in a sandbox with friends. And so we all play in that same sandbox, bringing all of our resources and toys to bear to make sure that this is successful. And so I am just honored and I'm happy. As a kid from the Hill, I'm really excited to shovel some sand and to throw some dirt around so the HACP can make our houses into homes. So with that, if there are any questions, or JW's on there as well. No questions? Well, thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Michelle.
The city and the URA for your partnership. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Tom. I really appreciate your thorough summary, Tom, and really taking us deeply into the details because the details really matter. Just overall, I really do think what was outlined reflects a very responsible path forward, and it begins to address the harms of the past through some meaningful economic development activity. The work that the URA has done with the Greater Hill District community, the city, and SEA represents one of our most significant public-private partnerships, grounded in engagement with residents and community stakeholders. And the reality is that Hill District residents and businesses were displaced in the 1950s through urban renewal actions led by the URA, the city, and other partners. And we cannot remain idle in this moment. It's our responsibility to move forward with care and purpose and advancing projects that serve the community and begin to repair that history. So I do want to thank everyone in the room, those not in the room, past and present, who helped us get to this point and articulate some next steps for the Lower Hill and the significant moves on the Greater Hill Reinvestment Fund applications. Many thanks to Councilman Lavelle, the many residents and community members who have waited far too long, and my colleagues who continue to prioritize the needs of residents, minority and women-owned developers, and small businesses. I'm very grateful to my many colleagues, past and present, who have taken on the difficult work. We believe that these collective actions represent meaningful progress toward delivering affordable, high-quality housing and economic opportunity. I also want to acknowledge FNB, Live Nation, and the Penguins for their collective investment of more than $350 million into the Lower Hill site and in our city. And so at the URA, our work is very outcome-based. And so you see that in our quarterly reports presented by John Vanello. We measure housing units created, we measure jobs created, property sold, total investment, leverage investment rather. And the URA is really at its best when we deliver. And so that's all I wanted to add, but thank you. Turn it over to other board members if you'd like to comment. Yep.
Quick comment, just to respond to the public comment that we heard. One, yes, the EMC will absolutely be involved as we move forward. And then two, to the sort of no compete and the concern of one developer being Trek on the Lower Hill site. Just for context, the reason for that is I don't remember the year at this point, but well over 10 years ago, Trek was chosen to be the implementer of the Choice Neighborhood Program. And so now that we're looking to advance choice onto the Lower Hill District, that's the reason why they are the developer at the table at this time. No matter where choice would go, they would be the developer doing it because they were developer chosen over 10 years ago. I would also just say that the community, the CSIP document speaks to it. The community has clearly said that even though we've all anticipated that housing would be on the upper portion of the site, that there would be a demand for affordable housing. And so moving the next phase of choice onto that site begins to satisfy that demand that we know is absolutely going to be there, which is why I think it makes sense to do this and why Trek is the development team at the table to do this work. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Further comments? I do just want to say one thing. First of all, I really appreciate everybody who's in this room who cares so deeply about the Hill District. So many of us have sat together at tables going on decades now, working tirelessly, some of you more than others, every day, every week, every month, making the Hill District a better place. The CDC, obviously, community members, Councilman Lavelle, really everybody, just about everybody who's in this room, if I look around, everybody's made a positive contribution in some way to the Hill District, and it's really been a long time coming. And today, I think, can be looked at in a couple of different ways. The way I'd like to look at it is an important step forward, on something that's been lying vacant now for decades. We all have our history in the Hill District. Most of Pittsburgh has some history or another in the Hill District. I mean, think about, I don't want to go on a tangent, but August Wilson, Tina Harris, Crawford Grill, my great-great-grandfather emigrated from Eastern Europe to 1609 Webster Avenue, where he and his luntsman had a committee called the Pliskiverse Committee. That group still meets every year for a picnic called the Pliska, and it's a Pliskiverse. So we all have, and folks in recent past have had so much damage done, due to actions outside of the control of any one person necessarily in this room, but sometimes with organizations who are in this room. So we have this terrific opportunity today to take a step forward to make sure that a site that hasn't had people living on it for years, get people living on there again. I think it was Ms. Payne who said she loves her neighborhood. And a neighborhood is not a neighborhood without neighbors. And nobody lives on a vacant parcel of land, and nobody lives in a parking lot. So whether it's this kind of housing or that kind of housing built by this person or that person, we all know one thing is that we need to get people back on this site, and we need to get people back in the Hill District generally. I'm not necessarily a religious man, but there's something in the Bible I think about a shining city on a hill. And I think that today could be a day that we start to build a shining hill in the city. So what I'd say is everybody keep an open mind. Let's work together and let's figure out how to make not just this site and this one little parcel, which is now not even 28 acres. Now we're talking about 7 acres, 6 acres. So it's getting smaller and smaller, but there's a much broader, greater hill to work together on making better, including this site. And I hope that working together with Mayor O'Connor and with you and with Councilman Lavelle, state representatives, state senators, this board, this staff, everybody here and the community, we can build that shining hill in the city together. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Moving on to announcements, I'll turn it back over to Chief Link.
Well, yeah, thanks so much. The next announcement here is also related to the site. We just want to make our board, of course, and the public aware. So at the Tuesday, I believe it was at the Tuesday SCA board meeting, the SCA issued an RFP for parking management services for the surface parking lots on the Lower Hill redevelopment site. So that was issued March 10th, 2026. Responses are due on that RFP on April 16th, 2026. Just for everyone's awareness, the URA and the SCA, we've always jointly worked with parking management services for the site. And we continue that spirit here and working with the SCA on this process to select a new parking management service provider for the surface parking lots. So that's the other announcement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next announcement will be presented by Leah Matthews.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leah Matthews. I'm a senior project manager with Development Services. Today, I'm announcing the release of a request for proposals for the Office of Municipal Investigations, also known as the OMI building. located at 2608 Penn Avenue in the Strip District. We will be releasing the RFP on Monday, March 16th, 2026, on our public bidding platform, Ion Wave Technologies. The URA is seeking developers or development teams to submit a proposal for the purchase and redevelopment of the OMI building. The goal of the RFP is to select a qualified and economically viable proposal for the redevelopment of the property. The OMI building is currently owned by the city of Pittsburgh and was formerly utilized as a police station, which comprises of 2 floors and a full unfinished basement. The first floor has an open office area, private offices, a garage, evidence room, and a holding area. The second floor is comprised of open office space and private offices. The URA is asking for $1,020,000 for the acquisition of the property, and that is based on an appraisal conducted in April 2025. Proposals will be due on May 15th. I can take any questions.
Thank you, Leah. Okay, next announcement, I'll turn it over to Brandon Wilson for an announcement related to HOF demonstration program.
Good afternoon. I am Brandon Wilson, a senior project manager in the URA's housing department. I'm pleased to announce that the Housing Opportunity Fund will be opening its application for demonstration dollars innovation grants on April 1st, 2026. Demonstration Dollars program is one of 8 programs funded by the Housing Opportunity Fund. This program differs from the other 7 programs in that it's designed around flexibility to meet housing needs that we cannot otherwise address with existing URA programming. It's been split into an emergency and an innovation grant, and the emergency grant went to 2 awardees in 2025. The innovation grant supports nonprofits and government entities by funding development outside of the existing HOF programs and initiatives. The grant can address housing-related challenges, supplement existing HOF programs, and fund housing developments or services that don't neatly fit into existing HOF programs. It can also fund pilot programs. Minimum grant awards for applicants are $50,000. The Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board allocated $300,000 to the Demonstration Dollars Innovation Grants Program. Again, the application opens on April 1st, 2026. The URA will hold an information session on April 8th, 2026 at noon for potential applicants. The application will close on June 30th, 2026 with a review period lasting through July and awards expected to be announced in August. All important information about the grant, as well as the application, can be found on the URA website under the heading Demonstration Dollars Program. With that, I pause for any questions or comments.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, our last announcement will be presented by Chief Link, and that is related to the Greater Downtown Arts and Lighting Initiative.
Oh, yeah, I'm Tom Link, Chief Development Officer. We want to announce for the public and for the board. You may recall in January, we announced an intention to issue a request for proposals for an initiative called the Greater Downtown Pittsburgh Public Realm Activation Study through Light and Art. So that proposal is out. So it was released on March 6th, 2026. We're seeking responses due April 27th, 2026. Just kind of a reminder for everyone involved, and if hopefully folks are listening and we would, hopefully get a robust feedback to this RFP. The goals of the RFP are to comprehensively study and identify specific sites for activation in sort of the greater downtown Golden Triangle area with a focus on light and art to enhance nighttime safety and comfort in public spaces. Identify these locations where activation could create placemaking to address these goals. And provide best practices and globally and nationally of worldwide best practices in this type of activity. The goal would be to have this data set, to have this study that could then help inform future long-term public realm strategies for downtown Pittsburgh. So we're excited for a robust response. And again, that RFP is out and responses are due April 27th, 2026. So thank you.
If I can just make one point, because people have asked me about this. This is really about the where rather than the what or the how. Because people have asked me, well, what is going to be placed here? This is more about what locations in downtown need a piece of art, need some lighting, and not standard lighting, but something that's interesting, something that's attractive, something that gives you that aha moment. But this particular RFP is for the where. The what will come later and be part of a much more iterative, community-driven process working with a great number of stakeholders. This one will also have stakeholder involvement, but really specifying specifically on what corners, what are our dark corners? What alleys are our dark alleys? What are the places that, what are those blank walls that look like they're in dire need of something interesting to draw the eye, so it doesn't just look like nothing's going on. So just to be clear, this is not about the what or the how, this is about the where, and I expect to have a pretty good response on this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That concludes announcements, and we'll move into our regular agenda, starting with development services. And for that, I will turn it over to Maya Fuse. Hi, Maya.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maya Fuse, and I am a project manager in the Development Services Department at the URA. Today, I'm requesting authorization to approve the proposal in form of the contract for the sale of 14 parcels owned by the City of Pittsburgh, located in the 15th Ward to Oak Moss and Associates LLC or related entity for $1 plus cost. The construction will occur in phases, starting with the infill lots on the northeast side of Chatsworth Avenue and the southwest side of Monongahela Street, south of Tulimet Street, and then progressing down the northeast side of Monongahela Street towards Berwick Street. Development is not planned for the parcels located along Sylvan Avenue. Next slide, please. The proposed project consists of 23 townhomes with 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units with backyards and dedicated parking spaces. Phase 1 and Phase 2 will include a total of 15 for-sale market rate units. Phase 3 will contain 8 rental units that will include 6 market rate units and 2 affordable and/or workforce units for households located at 80 or 125% below the area median income. Next page, please. Next slide, please. This project will be presented to the board again for approval of final drawings, final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute deed. The authorization for vertical construction of phases 2 and 3 will be considered by the board at a later date. Total development project costs are approximately $11.2 million. And then Krish Pandya is the managing member of Oak Moss Associates, and he is on the line to answer any questions that this board may have. Thank you.
Maya. Krish, are you on? Not sure if Krish is on. Do any board members have questions, comments?
I think it's great. I'm so glad that, is his name Krish?
Yes.
That Krish is making this investment in this neighborhood. You already heard from a neighbor saying, we wish we had more people living in our neighborhood. You held up before a map of, with yellow lots, as Councilman Charlin knows by now, the maps with the yellow lots, which are city owned, and blue lots, which are URA owned. That kind of helps us to really shape what we're hoping to do collectively in the city, because those are part of 12,500 or so vacant lots, mostly vacant lots that the city or the URA own for one reason or another in neighborhoods throughout our city, in particular in neighborhoods of need, neighborhoods with opportunity ahead of them, neighborhoods that have been underserved and underpopulated for years. So I'm really excited about this. I'd love to see more of it as time goes on. Krish, it's if you're on, it's a big city. Take a look at our other yellow parcels.
Absolutely. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can now.
Yes, firstly, good afternoon, and thank you to the board and the executive director for giving us the opportunity. It's a pleasure working with the URA, and absolutely, we want to get past this before we start looking at anything else. But we worked in Hazelwood for many, many years. We like the neighborhood, we like our neighbors, and we are very excited to be part of Hazelwood as it grows and develops and becomes an important economic hub for the city.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to approve.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, staying in development services. Julia McMahon will present this item. Hi, Julia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julia McMahon, and I'm a Senior Project Manager in the Development Services Unit. I'm here today seeking authorization for 4 Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund Development Initiative Program grants. The Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund, or Reinvestment Fund, is a community-driven fund created as a result of the Lower Hill Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Program, or LRTA. The Lower Hill LRTA is a payment in lieu of taxes structure where a property owner makes payments in lieu of real estate taxes attributable to the development activities on the Lower Hill site. The Reinvestment Fund provides funding for development projects and other community needs throughout the entire Greater Hill District. The Reinvestment Fund Advisory Board establishes an annual allocation plan and guidelines for fund-supported programs. The advisory board then makes recommendations to the URA board regarding expenditures of reinvestment fund dollars for eligible projects and programs. On October 9th, 2025, at the recommendation of the advisory board, the URA board adopted the Development Initiative Program, which provides last-in grants of up to $250,000 to support new construction or the rehabilitation of commercial, mixed-use, or housing developments in the Greater Hill District. On March 4th, 2026, the advisory board recommended a total of $930,000 development initiative expenditures. I'm going to read the authorizations and then invite Kirk, the project manager consultant for the fund, to go through each project. So, come on, Kirk. First one is authorization to enter into a Development Initiative Fund Program Grant Agreement with Kingdom Rising LLC or related entity for the African Queens apartment project in an amount not to exceed $250,000. Next one is the authorization to enter into a Development Initiative Program Grant Agreement with Big Tom's Barbershop LLC or related entity for Big Tom's Barbershop Housing and Development Phase 1 project in the amount not to exceed $240,000. Next project is the authorization to enter into a Development Initiatives Program Grant Agreement with Studio Volsi LLC or related entity for the Rhythm Square Phase 1 project in the amount not to exceed $250,000. And finally, authorization enter into a Development Initiative Program Grant Agreement with Communion LLC or related entity for the Heron and Wiley project in an amount not to exceed $190,000. Hand it over to Kirk.
Good afternoon, URA Board and URA leadership. My name is Kirk Holbrook, and I'm the project manager of the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund. It's an honor to be here today seeking authorization for support for 4 catalytic projects in the community, and I just wanted to give a little more detail on each. Next slide. One of those projects that we will be able to support through this reinvestment fund is African Queens. This is a new construction of a mixed-use development with 2 retail spaces on the ground floor and 12 affordable residential housing units rented to those at or below 30% of AMI. This award of $250,000 remaining funding gap for the project. So this is very exciting. Next slide. The next project we will support is Big Tom's Barbershop Phase 1. This is a mixed-use rehabilitation project that will repurpose the vacant 3-story building at 2178 Center Avenue. Phase 1 commercial space will house Big Tom's Barbershop on the 1st floor. This award is $240,000, and it will fill the remaining funding gap for Phase 1 of the project. Next slide. This next project is Rhythm Square Phase 1. The developer is Studio Volsi. Phase 1 of the Rhythm Square project will rehabilitate the former Center Lumber and Building Supply Warehouse located at 2239 Center Avenue into a mixed-use building with 2 first-floor commercial retail spaces and a 2nd floor with 12 subsidized artist studios. This award of $250,000 will fill the remaining funding gap for the project. And last but not least, next slide. This is the Heron and Wiley Avenue project being developed by Communion. This project will rehabilitate 2932 Wiley Avenue into a mixed-use development that will be constructed with a 1st-floor commercial space with 3 offices, including the new office of Communion Place and 6 affordable residential units. This award of $190,000 will help close the current funding gap for the project. And what we have here are 4 catalytic projects that could potentially come online now because of the reinvestment funds investment. And I wanted to point out that these are not only projects that activate historical commercial corridors and provide affordable housing and tie into the legacy of arts and culture in the community. I think these 4 projects will continue to signal to the Greater Hill District that the revitalization of the community is here, and it's real, and this fund is real, and it's able to support the community as we move forward. Before I move on, I wanted to go to the next slide, and this is a theme of what many people have spoken to today. We all know that the redevelopment of the Lower Hill and the revitalization of the Hill District has been a decades-long conversation. It has spanned generations of Hill District leadership. And these are the leaders who continue to carry the torch, the advocacy of the Lower Hill development and ensuring that that development supports the Greater Hill District overall. So I want to thank Councilman Lavelle and Marimba Lyons, whose efforts have brought the LRTA to fruition. I want to thank all of our board members, specifically Richard Witherspoon, Reverend Glenn Grayson, Alicia George, Dr. Kim Ellis, and Lakeisha Wolf. Every member of the advisory board I've been able to reach out to and lean on at some point in time to provide encouragement, to provide expertise. And I want to publicly thank the Neighborhood Advisory Board for all of their work on the reinvestment fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions. I would just simply also thank Kurt for managing this process. He thanked everyone else but himself, but he's done a tremendous job managing and getting us to this point. For the public's edification, it was always the intent that the redevelopment of the Lower Hill District would help spur the economic and social development of the Middle and Upper Hill District. And so that's what we were able to do today with deploying these funds. So I just want to thank you and everyone for their leadership. Thank you.
I'll also say thank you and thanks to everybody in this room who made that happen. Councilman Lavelle, your leadership. And I think that something like this is a great model, whether technically it's the model or whether conceptually it's the model of an understanding that when a neighborhood grows, then everybody gets to participate in that success and in that growth. That, when there's one project in one corner, it's not a one-off, rather something that can really spill over and help to grow an entire community. That's Mayor O'Connor's vision for growing every neighborhood. And you guys have really put it into action, and today speaks to it very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to second motion?
Thank you. Motion to approve?
So move.
Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next.
Okay, moving into commercial lending. I'd like to have Sienna Kane up to speak to the commercial facade grant program.
Thank you, and good afternoon to the URA Board of Directors and the public. My name is Sienna Kane, Assistant Director of the Commercial and Business Lending Department at the URA. And today I'm here to talk about Main Streets, both with the presentation of draft guidelines for our new commercial facade grant program, and also to seek authorization to enter into an agreement with Pittsburgh Pittsburgh Urban Initiatives, PUI, in the amount of $500,000. The City of Pittsburgh's Main and Main initiative focuses on programs that support neighborhood business districts and small businesses throughout the city. The Commercial Facade Grant Program, or CFGP, because we love acronyms for short, aims to be one of those programs. The proposed grant program will boost neighborhood main streets by providing grant dollars to eligible businesses and commercial property owners to improve their commercial facade. Some highlights of the proposed program. Grant funding covers 75% of project costs up to $20,000 for exterior work, including windows, doors, painting, signage, lighting, and more. Eligibility restrictions are limited to properties that have commercial use and that are located in or around a neighborhood business district. And this is a citywide program. The URA will offer technical assistance to support grant applications. Applications will be reviewed and projects will be evaluated based on their impact on the neighborhood business district, their neighborhood engagement, adherence to the URA facade design guidelines, and its geographic location. Applications will be accepted during designated funding rounds with the goal of eventually having 2 funding rounds annually. The proposed program guidelines will be open for public comment until April 3rd, 2026 at 1 p.m. on the URA website. And final guidelines will be presented to the URA board for authorization during its regular April board meeting. The launch of the CFGP would not be possible without an investment from Pittsburgh Urban Initiatives, or PUI. PUI is the City of Pittsburgh's community development entity, or CDE, working to secure new market tax credits through the U.S. Department of Treasury. PUI has previously seeded small business and housing development through the City of Pittsburgh, including initiatives undertaken by Invest Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh Housing and Development Corporation, and the URA's early efforts at microlending. The PUI Board of Directors approved the $500,000 loan at its February 2026 board meeting with the goal to renew a commercial facade grant program at the URA as part of its commitment to strategic community investment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments?
Yeah.
Comments or questions? Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You said in or around the main street. So could you clarify a little bit what that means and what also some uses that wouldn't be permissible are?
Yeah, so in and around, and what there are some like kind of, if you think of, I'm giving an example, like Mayfly Market in the War Streets. That is a business that serves the community that a lot of people go to, but it's not necessarily in the main street of North Avenue. So that would still be an eligible business. And there's little pockets in neighborhoods. So in and around with commercial use, so that would still be eligible for the program, even though it's not on like an actual main street. When we're looking at it, I just anticipate we will get a lot of applications. So we're going to have to kind of weigh, with this like this one building, does it serve the neighborhood, even though it's not in this business district? So we'll kind of like look at all the applications in that light. Did that answer your question, Director?
No, that was more my concern of like, we have some wonderful businesses on our main streets, but also some equally important ones that are catty corner or adjacent. So how do we determine which ones would be eligible, which ones wouldn't be?
So they're definitely eligible, and we'll look at that, the impact. And I agree with you. And they're kind of sweet. They're cool, like to have these like little places that you can walk to and that serve the neighborhood. Yeah,
appreciate it.
Other questions? I would say that, main and main in real estate is a term of art, which means that you're in the corner, in the center of the action. And Mayor O'Connor's thought process is that every neighborhood has a main and main, and every street that has businesses in a neighborhood is main and main. So even if it's not Main Street, your neighborhood, your Main Street is main and main. And I love this program because Councilman Charlotte and I were at a meeting the other day about what kind of facade improvement programs there are regionally. And I didn't know coming back, how there really wasn't the funding that there used to be for this kind of a program, even though it's very important to just about everybody. And even though it's transformed entire neighborhoods like Lawrenceville, Bloomfield, so many others. I know I can think back through time, and many of the businesses that you like in neighborhoods were the recipients of some award like this, and we didn't have any resources. So we turned to URA staff, Sushila, Tom, Kiana, Majestic, and Becky Davidson Wagner, and said, how can we make that different? If I missed anybody, fill me in. And Becky came back and said, I think there's something we can do with new market tax credits, which is completely different and unique. And people might not understand that this is not necessarily like the bread and butter of new market tax credits. She creatively came up with a solution to a problem and a need that we all identified. And nobody who is in this business or represents people and business districts believes that there's enough funding to do, street face facade restoration and make a street look better again, which makes a neighborhood look better again. So I really want to applaud the staff for being very creative here, in light of the absence of the resources that maybe we used to have in certain programs from a federal, state, and even local level. And I just encourage us to continue to think creatively about how to meet the needs of our communities in the same way that this program came to fruition. So thank you. And thank you, Becky. Where are you?
She's right there.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, hey.
I was also going to thank Becky and Sienna for your leadership on
And
this.
Sienna, sorry.
And our goal is to grow this fund.
Yes.
On this initial 500,000. And Councilman Lavelle, I hope I don't steal your lines, but I do encourage, our banking partners, foundation partners to help us capitalize and grow this program and build this fund because we have deep, deep experience at the URA, a lot at this table, running facade programs. And, you know, we want to help reposition Pittsburgh's main streets. And we know that it positions neighborhoods for long-term success. So, you know, we're here. This 500,000, we hope, is just the beginning.
Yeah, 25 businesses. So if we grow the fund, we can impact more businesses.
Right,
So very
historically, in
exciting.
the past, we were able to go to the county, state, and even federal, and certainly philanthropic. Even now, the vibrancy work that's being done in downtown Pittsburgh, specifically for the NFL draft, is almost entirely philanthropic with a little support from the URA. So, you know, everybody recognizes the need. Now it's up to us to go get the money. I know Senator Fontana, a long time ago, was able to really seed a great amount of what we did. Several governors in a row helped us create a facade improvement fund out of RCAP. And nobody had ever done that before.
Right.
And we just use that to clean up a lot of the buildings that today you walk by and think, what a beautiful building. Well, that's because of that work. So thanks again. I think, Councilman.
And if I may, you know, joining, I've said this to most of you privately, but publicly, joining the URA board, that this was one of the first things that people started reaching out to me about was the facade program. And I think in terms of immediate impact and impact that people can see, this is one of the most important and impactful things that we can do for our main streets. And our cities are, you know, largely built up of neighborhoods that are fueled by our main streets here. So I'm really thankful that we're able to continue to move forward with this and make this a real thing here. Again, I agree that I would like to see, you know, more projects and be able to move forward with this, but 25 businesses is a lot better than no businesses, and we're happy to see that. The one thing I do want to mention, and this is not necessarily attached to this program, but I would like to see us be able to expand this to sidewalk improvements as well. It is something that has become a glaring need for some of the districts or the main streets that I serve, being able to use this money, not just in the storefront, but also in front of the store, on the sidewalk as well. Hopefully that's something we can explore in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments or questions? Thanks again to everybody. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. We move on.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. We'll take a look at all those agendas in collective order here.
Yeah, I actually have a couple questions on this. Sorry.
Okay.
Can somebody explain the 1C, like really significant reduction in the bond issuance for the Cecil Way project? It's like a 40% reduction or something.
Hi.
Yes, Brooke explained this to me.
Yes, sorry, I'm trying to get closer to the microphone. Kiana Wassler, Chief Housing Officer. 1C is, let me just trying to get to it. Authorization to amend resolution number 115, 2025 to decrease the multifamily bond issuance amount from 39 million to an amount of up to 23.5 million for the 120 Cecil Way project. So what's happening with this project? It is a 4% low-income housing tax credit deal. Beacon Communities is the developer. They are, instead of including all of their costs in the bond issuance that the URA is providing, they will be also adding a taxable tail to it. And so there's an additional bond issuance that we don't believe will be coming through us for the project. PHFA has asked them to reduce, for us to reduce our approval for the non-taxable portion of the bond to this amount. And then they will be seeking, you know, a taxable bond in addition to this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And my other unrelated question, there's 2 RCAPs on here, which is nice. Always good to see RCAPs coming to the city. I assume this is not the like full round of awards for the year, right? These are just 2 off-cycle ones?
Certainly hope not.
Yeah, okay.
Right, that's correct. Yeah.
Thank God.
Actually, they seem to be coming in waves.
Got it,
You know, so
okay.
we expect more to come, but you know, that's up to Governor Shapiro, and we're more than thankful for all of his support. These are great projects, by the way, if you're not familiar with them. Hellbender people might not know, and Hellbender's, you know, maybe Tom, if you can just
Yeah, I mean, it's a Hellbender, it's a sort of AI, I think advanced manufacturing kind of company, high tech, creating jobs here in the city.
We used to spend more time on RCAP approvals, which I think is a practice we should return to because it's, even though it's just a pro forma pass through of the money, it's good to highlight that these projects are happening in the city, I think.
Talk about AI, and here's an AI business that's coming to the city with an RCAP attached to it.
Yeah.
It would be great to talk about it more. Is that okay? Is that all right? Sure.
All right,
Thanks for
we'll
that.
do that. Any other questions, comments about the consent agenda? You can do a motion.
Okay, a motion.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. Okay, any further comments, questions, concerns? There being none, let's have a motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye, all opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. See you next month.
Otherwise, nobody ever knows what they're doing.
Thank you.
There are a lot of reporters.